What's up, you guys, and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the lasting effects that my social media detox had on me after 1 year. As you can see, I'm still alive, so it won't actually kill you. All right, y'all, let's get into it. All right, rules of engagement. These are the rules and guidelines I placed upon myself heading into 2020 because my detox wasn't only social media. So for 2020, there was no Instagram, no Twitter, no Facebook. There was no television whatsoever, no video games. These are all areas that I have been overindulging in. There were things that I did keep in, though, things that I allowed myself to have. I allowed myself to watch movies, to go on YouTube because I still wanted to be uploading and making videos to the platform. And I allowed myself to watch basketball highlights because I am a fan of the NBA and I do follow both the NBA and the WNBA. And highlights are condensed on the YouTube platform anyhow, so it wouldn't be like I was sitting there for hours watching full games. So these were the guidelines that I came up with after I took a hard look at where I had been spending the majority of my time, or how I had been wasting my time before I went into the restrictions that I placed onto myself. How I was able to kind of measure where I was wasting the most time was to take a look at the analytics on my phone, because I have an iPhone and it tracks your usage. So when I'm able to see on a weekly basis or a daily basis how many minutes or hours I am spending on an application, it got a little scary for me. So I took that information into account and moved and went forward based off of the information that I had to what my habits were. For you, this might look different. Perhaps you spend hours watching basketball games, FIBA tournaments, or you spend hours watching movies. I don't. I'm very slow to watch movies. There are a lot of movies that I still have not seen to this day, which is probably sad for past teachers that I have, considering what my focus was in school. But yeah, I don't watch a lot of movies. I still haven't seen The Dark Knight. Don't go too hard on me. It's on my list. I'm gonna get to it. However, my black hole hours came from playing hours of Need for Speed on my phone. The graphics on the iPhone 10 for Need for Speed got really good. I was pulled into the world. I spent lots of time on Instagram, getting lost in the scroll, man. And I was killing Netflix by binging TV shows that I had never seen. Legit, I think in 2019, I binged 14 seasons of Criminal Minds in 2 months. Don't even want to talk about how many hours that is. The amount of time I was wasting on these types of activities was one of the reasons why I decided to go on this detox. Another reason why I decided to do this detox was because creatively I felt stifled. I had a lack of creative clarity when I would sit down to write, when I would go out to take photos. Instagram is a platform that inundates you with images by other people making photographs, and a lot of times it kind of recycles the same imagery, and what you see longest becomes strongest. Kind of like what you hear longest becomes strongest. So I just didn't feel like I was having much original thought or seeing much original imagery, and nothing was really pushing me to grow or expand as an artist. And I really wanted to get reacquainted with my creative voice and to decide what was important to me and figure out and discover new things, new aspects of craft in writing, and explore new techniques or films or cameras in my photography. And so not being influenced by other artists was very important to me. Not just any artist, I'll say, because I still went out and I read photo books. I read lots of books on craft during the year by other writers. What I'm talking about is I didn't want any more people who weren't prolific in the areas of interest that I was interested in. I didn't want to be taking on what they were doing, if that makes sense. The third reason I decided to go on this year-long detox is because 2020 was an election year. And I knew at the end of 2019 that we were headed into an election year, and I was already over it in December of 2019. I've been voting since I was 18 years old. I have had people that I voted for win, lose, disappoint me, whatever. It's politics, so I'm not gonna dive too deep, but I will say this. So I found the 2016 election to be pretty difficult to kind of deal with, not just because of like what was happening in the media, but because of what was happening around me. I found myself ending friendships and creating distance between associates and family members who just had strong opinions in opposition to what I believed. I'm sure I'm not the only person who had this type of experience during that time. And I knew that 2020 would be far worse than anything I had seen in 2016. I knew. And now sitting here today in 2021, I was right. I be knowing, man. I be knowing. I wanted to limit the amount of noise and propaganda that was being fed to me. And the best way I knew how to do this was to get myself off of social media and to protect my mental health, my mental well-being, and my sanity. So the election played a big part in me sitting myself down in 2020 and closing the door on any unnecessary noise. Another important factor for me in taking this detox was because I had suffered a few losses in 2018 and in 2019. These were big losses in my life that I had not been dealing with. I hadn't taken the time to grieve, and I hadn't taken the time to reflect inward to see where I was at emotionally, and I hadn't dealt with anything really. Instead, I dove into work, and when I wasn't working, I dove into television, social media, and video games. And I wanted to spend a year kind of unpacking what I had been through and grieving, and hopefully coming out on the other side with a better understanding of who I am today, and having my emotions be explored more in a healthier sense, and giving myself that time and that space to feel how I felt. So what did I do with my free time during 2020? I enrolled in workshops and classes. I studied photography, writing, financing, entrepreneurship, copywriting. It didn't matter. Anything of interest to me, if I found a class either offered online from my local library or from a university offering classes, then I took it because I had time in 2020. I wrote a first draft of a nonfiction book. I wrote a fifth draft of a novel. I completed a first draft of a screenplay. I wrote 11 new blog posts for Medium. Link will be in the description. If you're on Medium, check me out. I will be continuing to upload blog posts on there throughout 2021. I explored California. I lived in California for a number of years, and because I've always been working, I didn't travel or explore much of the state. So when we were allowed to leave lockdown, I would go on road trips with friends. I drove up Route 1 to San Francisco, exploring Big Sur. I drove out to Joshua Tree with some friends for the first time and enjoyed the desert. I spent the end of 2020 in Florida, spending quality time with my parents and getting some rest in. I read 55 books. I meditated a lot. I started collecting photography books. I uploaded 52 videos on YouTube, and I made photographs every step of the way. All right, let's jump into like cravings and withdrawals that happened during my detox. All right, so for social media, once I deleted Instagram and Twitter, I didn't think about it. And that's real, yo. I didn't care. Like, I didn't care that I was missing out on the memes when things were happening in pop culture or in the news or like around the world or the country. Like, I didn't care that I was missing out on the memes. I didn't care I was missing out on pictures. I did not miss being on social media in that way at all. Like, I didn't miss Instagram. I didn't miss having to like figure out what photo I was gonna post and then like spending even more time trying to think of like a cool, clever, funny, insightful caption to write underneath the photo. Like, not having to consider those things, oh man, such a weight off my shoulders. Fantastic. I did miss Need for Speed. I did. I was going pretty hard in the paint on Need for Speed by the end of the year, man. I was acquiring cars. I had finally gotten to the exotic sports cars. I had unlocked that level, so my garage is looking thick. You know, I was customizing my colors. You know, I had my street cars in one color, my classic cars in another color. Like, I was heavy in the game. I did feel the withdrawal of like not being able to like just pull out my phone and start playing a video game when I was at the post office or when I was at like the grocery store, because there were a lot of lines during the lockdown last year, and most of the time before, how I would spend my time in lines was playing video games, Need for Speed specifically. But because of the pandemic, I spent that time reading in the line in lines. So I guess one is more productive than the other. TV, yeah, man, I missed TV the whole time. I think like around March or April, The Last Dance came out. Man, that killed me. Ugh, I was hurting. Yo, I was hurting. I was the biggest Bulls fan as a kid. Anyways, yeah, not seeing The Last Dance killed me, but I'm currently watching it on Netflix. Praise God for Netflix. And but I'm not binging it. I'm just watching it one episode at a time. Like, at the end of the night. At the end of the day, I'll throw it on like around 7 o'clock and I'll watch an episode. And I look forward to seeing the next episode the following night. So I'm not like going crazy and sitting there for like 5-6 hours just demolishing the show. I'm savoring it because I've waited so long to see it. And yo, man, has anyone else seen The Last Dance? Yeah, I'm telling you, man, I had no idea Phil Jackson was so cool. No idea. He's like a NBA coach hippie out there. That soothing voice. Man could like probably lead a yoga class or a meditation. Me not being on social media while The Last Dance was premiering was also great because so many spoilers were out there. So the fact that I wasn't on social media, I didn't have the spoilers, which was great. All right, what's the plan moving forward in 2021 and beyond? I limit my television watching to evenings and weekends, not diving in for like 5-hour marathons anymore because, you know, it's not necessary. As far as like social media goes, I just re-downloaded Twitter. Honestly, Twitter was like never my favorite social media platform anyway. I always found the layout to be kind of cluttered, in my opinion. Instagram, first time I got back on it, I went through and I tried to answer as many messages that I had gotten from people and tried to just kind of catch up or whatever and see what I had missed. There's a lot of new features, so I'm still learning those features or whatever. But honestly, Instagram looks like one big commercial to me, and it's one big ad because like as I was scrolling the first time around, I saw more ads than I saw people that I follow. That's the effect of letting Mark Zuckerberg take over a platform. He just turns it into one big opportunity for him to make money. When it comes to Facebook, real talk, I honestly deleted Facebook I think it's 2 years ago now, a year or two ago. Read what I said about Mark Zuckerberg. When it comes to video games, I have re-downloaded Need for Speed because like I really felt like I needed it. I hadn't played it in a year, but I thought about it more often than I thought I would. When I was playing, it kind of felt like I was wasting my time. And I was also able to see the ways in which the game tries to make you stay on the app for hours and hours and hours. They offer you things here and there. They try to get you to buy coins, powers, money, packages. But yeah, it's all a game to suck your time. And now that I see that more clearly, I only pull the game out or pull it up like when I'm really bored or kind of frustrated with myself, and I'll like play a game or two here or there before I feel like I've kind of rebalanced myself and can go back into doing what I was doing before. But honestly, I could probably take a walk and have the same effect. A walk would probably be healthier because it'd be fresh air, fresh air-ish, LA. But yeah, that's where I am with Need for Speed. Not putting in as much time as I used to at all because it feels like a time suck. And the fact that I'm so aware of what I'm looking at now just ruins the fun for me. Damn shame. All right, so here are some lessons that I kind of took away from my detox, which may help someone else. I learned that I don't have to be on Instagram to be considered a photographer. To be considered a photographer, I need to be out in the world making photographs and pushing myself creatively to improve every step of the way. Me posting on Instagram does not make me more or less of a photographer than anyone else. And I don't need the validation of people that I don't know to like my photos or to comment on my photos. So I don't feel that pressure anymore to post on Instagram in the same way that I did before. And that's really freeing for me. In regards to television, I learned that television isn't going anywhere. It's been around for decades now. And we live in a day and age where technology makes accessing television even easier. Just because a show is airing doesn't mean I have to watch the show when it's airing. Just because a show premieres on Netflix doesn't mean that I have to watch it right away, because it will be there. It will be there. And because I have the internet, I can find these shows whenever I want. I don't feel pressure to hurry up and finish the show because it's now available to me. And because I don't engage in kind of the back and forth social media live interactions with TV shows, I don't have to be on time with it. All I have to do is not be on social media for any spoilers and I'm good to go. I learned also that there will always be noise, news, social media, my neighbors, but it is up to me to restrict the noise that I allow into my world. And I have to hold myself accountable for what I allow to reach me. I can get a lot done when I am not distracted. When I am focused and I limit distractions, I am a productive individual. And I realize now that the only person that was keeping me back from being productive was myself and a lack of discipline. I learned that you can utilize social media, television, and gaming in unhealthy ways, especially if you're going through a tough time and you don't necessarily want to deal with your reality. And I feel like when you do that to yourself, you are not allowing yourself to grow, to deal with what is bothering you, to address it head on, and to move forward. So you're hindering yourself and you're keeping yourself stagnant. And that was an important lesson for me because I had to hold up a mirror to myself and say, yo, what are you doing? And once I asked myself what I was doing and I confronted myself, I was able to make steps to getting where I wanted to be and no longer living in this space of shoulda, coulda, woulda, I wish, or I want. Instead, I was able to go get and to do. I learned that human connection is valuable and it's also hard, which is why it's easy to hide and retreat in social media, and it's easy to fixate on TV shows and get lost in characters and to jump into stimulating worlds like gaming provides. I get it. Actually doing the work and connecting with people and doing deep dives into yourself to figure out like what's bothering you and to come up with solutions, that's hard work. But I'll tell you this much, it is also the most rewarding work that I think I have ever done. And the amount of work that I actually produced outside of the work that I did internally speaks for itself, the volume. I've learned more in 1 year about myself and the people I interact with more than I ever have before. As you can imagine, some of my relationships didn't make it out of 2020, some thrived, and it's all okay because I'm better for every single experience that I had. All right, let's wrap this up. So if anything I said kind of resonates with you, or if you're going through like a hard time and you want to do a detox from TV, social media, or from gaming, do it. You know, challenge yourself to eliminate distractions from your life and to see what you're made of and find out what's most important to you in your life. You don't have to do it for a year like I did. You can do it for however long you think would be of use to you. You know, I go ham in the paint. I go in. So of course I'm going to do a year because I like to really make things difficult for myself. And that's the only way I know how to do it. But you know, you're seeing it here. I'm living proof that you won't die from not being on social, from not watching TV, or from not playing video games. You will survive it and you will come out of it. If this video brought you any insights or value, please support the channel by liking this video, sharing with a friend or family member that you think will also benefit from this video, and subscribing to the channel if you are interested in seeing more content surrounded around photography, creativity, productivity, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. Get out. Go away. Leave this place. Will them to be gone. He's extra barky today. If anything I said kind of resonates with you, if you yourself are going through, bless you. One time for the 9 9s. All right, let's wrap this up.